Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of FOFF The Press. We've got a special guest this evening. We've got Pro Philani, and then we've got Nick Stothard, the man from the King in the North. He's probably excited about the takeover at Newcastle, but today we're not talking about the takeover at Newcastle. Here about Bafana Bafana because it's an international break. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you guys doing this evening?
It's good to be here again. It's nice to have another guest. Pro, obviously, you've got a great following, especially within the local ranks of football here. And yeah, it's going to be nice to talk about a Bafana Bafana that looks maybe destined to make a World Cup. I don't know. I'm hoping. My fingers are crossed.
Yeah, no. How's it going, Pro? How are you doing this evening?
No, I'm great. It feels good to be here. First time on this kind of platform, and I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Oh no, thanks a lot. No, thanks for joining us, Pro. I think just by way of introduction, I think it's always when we bring on new people onto the show, we like to just to know a little bit more about themselves in terms of how they got to where they are. Obviously, I think you've got a decent following of about 20,000 or so followers on Twitter, and you've got you've got your own platforms where you are doing videos talking about the beautiful game. So just by way of introduction, just tell us more about yourself and what you are doing in the field of football.
Pro Philani is just a football fan, passionate about local football. I follow the DSTV Premiership, obviously, and the Clear Africa Championship. I'm currently the director of the Pro Philani Media that focuses on those two divisions, and also um, the Hollywood Bet Super League, which is the women's league. And I've also tried to invest my time in also following the Sasol Regional League as well. That is the another ladies football division. So I just love football. I've never paid attention to the things like following on social media and all those kind of things, but I just see myself as somebody that loves football, that loves local football to be specific, and the popular media is all about that. It's all about focusing and talking about local game.
Okay, no, dope. No, that's dope. So just I think before we even get into Bafana Bafana as a whole, what do you think is the state of the local game currently? Mainly, the PSL, the DSTV Premiership, and the Glad Africa Championship. What do you think is the state of the lay of the land? I think obviously we might as well just touch on a little bit. The whole thing of buying statuses and so on. I think we lose a bit of credibility in that regard. But what do you think of that? Just the lay of the land of the DSTV Premiership and the Glad Africa Championship.
It's going to be difficult for me to comment on the state of football because I'm not directly involved. I'm not coaching a team. I'm not working for the team. I'm just watching as an outsider and as a person that has done quite a good research on the game. I think that the state of our football is not in the decline as some people would say. I think we are at the stage where we are trying to find ourselves again. We are trying to reinvent ourselves as a nation, and we are trying to identify with our cultures and also with the way that we'd like to play the game. I think that being a diverse country also has affected us immensely because just the other day we were having discussions about the absence of white players in the DSTV Premiership, and now we are looking at the Clear Africa Championship as well. Unfortunately, for almost a year and a half now, we haven't been able to watch the Clear Africa Championship at the stadium. We haven't been watching much football at the stadium, but we've been fortunate enough to watch the DSTV Premiership on TV. But from what I've seen and from what I've learned to understand through watching small clips and highlights, I think the Clear Africa Championship is competitive enough. I think it's going to be one of those leagues that are going to supply the Premiership teams with players because I'm not enough from other countries, especially players that don't contribute much, players that don't add value in our league. So I strongly believe that DSTV Premiership gives our young players that platform. The under 23 rule is marked a lot of teams, but I think it allows, or it gives a lot of young players to showcase their talent and possibly be part of our national teams, junior national teams, and the senior national team.
No, that's great. I think obviously, I think Nick, you on your side, what do you think in terms of the quality of football at the Glad Africa Championship? You know, especially with your experience as the assistant at Amatax.
Yeah, listen, it's a tricky one because I mean the Glad Africa, it's different types of football. If you look at the Glad Africa Championship, you're looking at a promotional league. So, you know, Pro, you can probably testify to what I'm saying. Is when you start the season, I think everyone's got the hope of getting promoted. You know, generally the teams chop and change their squads on a yearly basis, because they all want that dream to go and play in the DSTV Premiership. So, I think in terms of the competitive nature, it's always going to be there. Anyone can really beat anyone in that league. But what is nice about the league is it does fortunately unearth talent within our country, because there is that rule where you need 5 under 23s within the squad. I think 2 of which have to start. So I think it does contribute to the broader landscape of South African football. But I do think, you know, we maybe need to go sort of a step further. I think, you know, maybe we need a 3rd division. I don't know if Pro maybe agrees with me, but I think the drop off between the ABC League, or the drop off, sorry, from the Glad Africa Championship to the ABC division is quite big, especially in a number of provinces. Yes, there is your winners, maybe your teams that finish 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the provinces. But I think if we maybe had to have a national league of, and if you want to call it semi-pro or professional in the 3rd division, I think that would contribute greatly to the broader landscape of South African football, and will ideally, you know, filter up towards the PSL as a whole, and the best players will be unearthed, because there is a lot of talent in the ABC Motsepe League. There's a lot of talent in the Glad Africa Championship, and you know, sometimes you find the players are good enough to play in the PSL but might not get the opportunity, or aren't seen within their own setups at their clubs.
No, that's interesting. I think, yeah, because I guess we would borrow models that are like the European models, where you do have, you know, the divisional structures to say you've got the Premier League, or the first league, and then the second league, and then the third league. And I guess, you know, you feel that the quality isn't evenly spread across the provinces, if
Yeah.
probably, you know, type of thing. Whereas maybe it's always the same provinces that are producing the team
Sure.
that's gonna always ultimately win. And maybe the competition in the provinces, it's what would help other teams to be stronger. So if you play against other strong teams, you become stronger, because at least then, if you play against a team in Cape Town from Joburg, at least you're playing a good team, and you all almost like on a level playing field. But if you're playing in a province, let's say Mpumalanga, and maybe Mpumalanga doesn't have a strong province for that season, then it might hurt you when you get to the playoff stage, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, and I think it's quite tough also, you know, to win a 9-month league, and then you have to go and fight with 8 other teams for 2 spots. It seems a little bit cruel, if you ask me, you know. But
Yeah.
you know, there's probably a long way to go for that. But I think, you know, the more professional setups and more professional teams that there are in the country will only contribute to the level of football. At the moment, we've got 32 professional teams. Pro, I think you can agree with me. A lot of those Glad Africa Championship teams aren't even run as professionally as some even ABC teams. I see some ABC teams in Gauteng that are run, you know, better than some Glad Africa Championship teams, and generally that's because an owner's bought a status and wants to try and you know, do something and get into the Premiership. But you know, we are on the right track in terms of trying to get our youngsters through the system. I think the MDC also helps with that. But they are. I mean, we're not perfect. If we were perfect, we'd be getting to World Cups and AFCONs regularly. We'd be competing in those competitions. And we do often have to go back to the drawing board. And I think looking at our local structure is a good start for that. And I'm sure Hugo Broos has his own comments with regards to that.
Mm. That's an interesting take. But I think we must just jump on to what's been very topical of late. Bafana Bafana. I think everyone, it takes me back to 2010 when we all had a bit of energy in us. We're looking forward to the World Cup and so on. I think there's a bit of energy in everyone saying, "Hey, can we book flights to Qatar? Can we start dreaming about Qatar? Can we start, and so on and so on?" Which is good. I think it's always good to get excited, but we must also remember that we still need to be number one first, and then still go to the second phase of qualifiers. But bro, what has been your assessment so far of Bafana Bafana in the qualifiers, the World Cup qualifiers? Obviously, I think Molefi Ntseki obviously got fired and so on, and then we brought in Hugo Broos. But what's been your assessment with this new reign of Bafana Bafana all the way from COSAFA up until obviously now in the qualifiers?
Let me tell you something. Hugo Broos reminds me of Ephraim Shakes Majaba, Coach Shakes. Coach
Yeah.
Shakes was that kind of coach that did not care about the superstars of the league. He did not
Fair.
care about the overseas-based players. If you look at the team that beats Ethiopia, only Sianda Kulu was an overseas-based player, and the rest of the players were local-based players. And you can see that Hugo Broos is trying to bring something different, and is trying to make us understand our challenges as a nation. That our challenge has not been players per se, but our challenge has been lack of support for the national team. The kind of things and the kind of comments that he makes in the media are just evidence that the issues at Bafana Bafana are not about players, but it's the fans and the National Association not investing enough to support the national team. I strongly believe that Hugo Broos is the right man. He came at the right time to save our soccer. He came at the right time to save the national team. He that are regarded as average players an opportunity to represent the national team. I think that we can do more, and I'm confident that we will get to the next round. And who knows? I might be looking at my wardrobe and try to find my passport and book my flights to Qatar come 2022 December.
No, that's good. No, that's good. I think we all need that. We all need that as a nation. I think we've had so many times where we've almost made it. Always calculations at the last minute to say, have we qualified or have we not qualified, and we haven't even made it to that second phase of the qualifiers in quite some time. So actually, just qualifying for that second phase in itself would be a little bit of an achievement. But when we get there, we'll be playing the best of the best. As Hugo Broos said, when you're in Europe and you talk about African national teams, you talk about Cote d'Ivoire, you talk about Ghana, you talk about Senegal, you talk about Nigeria, but you don't talk about South Africa. So, what do you think? I know we may be preempting and we may be looking too much into the future, but what do you think about our prospects potentially when we get into a second phase and to maybe face a Cote d'Ivoire, face a Nigeria, face a Senegal, face an Egypt, face a Morocco, face an Algeria, all these teams with big name players, your Mahrez and your Salahs and so on. What do you think would be our prospects? I know obviously we're in the same group as Ghana, but those, even Ghana itself is going through a rebuild. But those other teams are stronger than Ghana. What do you think our prospects if we get there in the second phase?
Ghana is in a rebuilding phase, but they've been qualifying for tournament for different tournaments. We are in the rebuilding phase, and we're not qualifying for anything. We only got to play COSAFA because we are hosting. Otherwise, from what I could tell, the COSAFA Cup gave us an opportunity to see a Yusuf Mart, gave us an opportunity to see a Victor Letwalo, gave us an opportunity to see a lot of younger players, Nico Mobi and all those kind of things, all those kind of players. And believe me, when I look at the national team now and I look at the confidence that the players are showing, you look at Teboho Mokoena at the Olympics, he was fearless. You look at Evidence Makopa at the Olympics, he was fearless. And one is thinking now, what's going to happen when a player like Thabo Cele comes back? What's going to happen when a player like Sipepelo Stele gets to travel to the country? When a Bongani Zungu gets a team that will give him an opportunity to play? When a Pesitao comes back to form and performs at Alakli, what's going to happen to our national team? So I think by the time we face we got to face the likes of Algeria or Nigeria or Senegal, I think we'll have the best available squad. And for the fact that these players are hungry to play for the national team, they are hungry to represent the national team, and they're hungry to make names for themselves. I strongly believe that we stand a good chance. Yes, I don't want ourselves to get too far ahead of ourselves and start thinking that we are world beaters. But if you don't hype our national team, who's going to hype it for us?
No,
like
that's fair.
like Kaizer Chiefs fans usually say when they win one game in 1 month, they'll say bring Al Ahly, bring Chelsea, bring Liverpool, bring Bayern Munich. I'll say Bafana Bafana is top of the group, 7 points, 1 point clear. Come on, man, bring Nigeria, bring Senegal, let them come to Orlando Stadium or FNP Stadium. We'll show them who we are, and in Hugo Broos we trust. So that's all I can say for now.
No, that's very interesting. I think, yeah, no, I'm a Kaizer Chiefs supporter, so I am one of
So
those
you know what
fans.
I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. So yeah. When you say bring all of them, type of thing.
Mm,
But I think it has been very interesting to see the team and the selections. As you're saying, obviously he's focused more on a youthful team, similar to what he did with Cameroon, where you bring not picking any players over the age of 30. I think Siada Kulu is
mm,
30 years old. He's the oldest player, and as you said, he's the only one from overseas who started the game. Um,
mm,
what do you think of the selections that he's made? Obviously, I think South Africa, we've got a big problem as well in terms of when you pick the national team. Already, Sundowns fans are saying, why is Lyle K not picked? Why is Andy Lejani not
mm,
picked? And then you
mm,
get Orlando Pirates fans saying, why is Monaro not picked? Or why is this guy not picked? Or why is Tyson not picked? Obviously, Tyson, I can know, but why is Tyson not picked? Or why is this
mm,
guy not picked? You type of thing. I think we've always had that thing as South Africans. We're always thinking about our team and their players and why they're not being picked. But what have you thought of the selections? I think they've been refreshing to have a Hlongwane from a Maritzburg, and Nico Mobi,
mm,
a player who was at Sundowns but not no more at Sundowns type of thing. These are players that are playing for smaller teams but are still
mm.
making the squad.
Look at Tabani Zuke as an example. In the bio bubble, Kaiser Chiefs fans were all over Tabani Zuke's case because
Yeah.
he made an error in the 86th minute and Sundowns capitalized and scored. That goal potentially affected Kaiser Chiefs' chances of winning the league. And Kaiser Chiefs fans were drawing all sort of videos trying to show that Tabani Zuke was bribed and all those kind of things. But last season, the player redeemed himself and he was playing as a center back. Remember, in the bio bubble, he played as a six, and
Mm-hmm.
now last season he was playing as a right-footed center back, and he had one of the best seasons that I've ever seen from a young player. In this current season, he's partnering with CBC again at the back, and you can see he is showing maturity in his game. Right now, he's been called to the national team, and he got his debut coming off the bench. And you can see that these are the type of players that would never get an opportunity to represent Bafana Bafana. You look at a player like Ethan Brooks from TX
Galaxy.
Galaxy. If I was a national team selector or a coach, I was never gonna select that boy. But look at Hugo Broos, what he has done. Look at what the technical team at the Kosafa Cup did. They selected that boy and they gave him an opportunity. And because in my selection, I'll be biased. I'll say there's no national team without Themba Zwane. There's no national team without Andile Jali because I'm biased like that. But you look at Duduzim Danzane from Cape Town City. I'm biased. I'll say I want Duduzim Danzane because for me, he gives you assists, he gives you goals. If you look at Ethan Brooks' statistics, there's no assist, then there's no goal. But Hugo Broos knows what he's doing with this young boy, and he understands what he brings in his game and what he brings in his tactical plannings. But I'm sure Coach Nick might have a different view on this one. But he's not selecting our favorite players, but he's selecting players that will do a job for him. Look at what he did to Teko Mabasa. Teko Mabasa, in my opinion, he's one of the best strikers we have in the league. But it took 36 minutes for Hugo Broos to say, no, you are not good enough for this match. Come and sit on the bench. Watch
35
what
minutes,
Victor
yeah.
Letolo will do. as painful as it is for an Orlando Pirates fan, but it's the honest truth. The man was not giving the coach what he wanted. So what does the coach do? He shows bravery. He takes him off, and he puts somebody that's going to do something. So for me, any coach that does not select players according to popularity, according to the clubs they play for, is good enough to coach Bafana Bafana. That is why at the beginning I said Hugo Broos reminds me of Ephraim Shakes Mashaba, because that's exactly what Coach Shakes used to do at Bafana Bafana.
I think what's quite interesting here, you spoke about those players that are still overseas, and I don't think we can doubt that they are still quality players. But maybe the way that things have been shaken up by Hugo Broos, with selecting a younger squad, selecting a team based solely on merit and not for who they play for. When the time comes for them to be available to be selected for a national team, you would like to think that those players will realize that they're not going to get selected just because they play abroad. So when they go back to their clubs, or while they're at their clubs now, they have to earn their spot in a World Cup qualifier. The way you were speaking about it now, Pro, it makes sense. These players almost had a plane ticket booked every international break because they knew the head coach was going to select them. And fortunately now, what I like about Hugo Broos is, you said it earlier, he's so honest. He went on to SABC and he exposed SAFA for the lack of accountability, the lack of investing in processes that should be there for a national team, let alone a football club. A national team should have, at least someone to be able to make sure that every player has a passport. Something as small as that. And I think it's controversial. He probably ruffled a few feathers and upset a few people, but you know what? He's been put in charge to do a job, and he expects a certain standard of work around him so he can do his job. And if it's not done, why should he keep quiet? Why should he keep quiet like other coaches? So it's very exciting to see someone outspoken, speaking the truth, and he's delivering at the moment. I would like to say we get to a second round, but we've got some tough games in the next couple of weeks that we need to just make sure that we don't get ahead of ourselves, and put ourselves in a position, at least going into the last game, with needing at least a draw, maybe.
When you talk about draws in the last game for Bafana Bafana, I just think about the previous qualifiers when we had to go to Sudan and get a draw and we couldn't get a draw. I don't want us to get to the last game. I want us literally. What to happen is that tomorrow we beat Ethiopia. Ghana doesn't beat Zimbabwe, and then when we play Zimbabwe at home, we beat Zimbabwe. So that when we go into the last game, it's a matter of Ghana needs to beat us. I don't know. They must say Ghana needs to beat us 5-0. They need to beat us 5-0 or something to qualify. Not a draw, guys, because Bafana Bafana and draws, we've had too much bad experiences, guys. We cannot be going to the last game and having to play for a draw.
Can I share the most infamous words by the legendary coach Peter Mosimane?
Yeah.
He always say, "Win your home games."
Yeah.
When you 100%. Win your home games, when you win your home games, you put yourself in a better position to qualify for the next round. So we drew in Zimbabwe, we won in Ethiopia, we've beaten Ghana at home. All we need now is to get 6 points at home. Then we are home sweet and dry. Whatever happens in Ghana, I don't think that will be much of a challenge, even though the point gap is just 1 point. But I think that if we win our home games, then we won't need any favors from Zimbabwe. We won't need any favors from Ethiopia. Let's just win our home games, and the Ghana game will take care of itself.
And then we can play Tanzania or Benin. Those are the two that I want in the next round.
Yes, I've been hearing some people praying about Benin. I'm like, guys, wow.
But we also have to respect them.
We're at the same level. We're at the same level as Tanzania as Benin.
Yeah, they're at the top. But we must remember, if they top their group, they're good enough to do so. So any game in the next round is going to be tough. Next round is going to be tough.
No, true. I think it will be definitely interesting. If we get like a Benin or a Tanzania, it will be amazing because at least then we are playing a team where I think our confidence will be very much high in such a
Mm.
game, whereas if we play a Nigeria and a Cote d'Ivoire, listen, I think Nigeria sometimes we can do our thing against Nigeria, but like maybe like a team like a Cote d'Ivoire or a Senegal, sometimes I think they can outmuscle us, especially those big boys, those big center backs and big center forwards that they do have
But
sometimes.
now you have a Hugo Broos who's worked in those sorts of countries. He's done well with what a Cameroon
Cameroon, yeah,
in West Africa. So
Cameroon, yeah,
he's he's I'm sure, and Pro, you can attest to this, that I'm sure he's already planning ahead. He
Mm.
knows how to tactically set his team up against teams like Zimbabwe or teams like Algeria or teams like Cote d'Ivoire. They're different styles of football, different characteristics of their play as well as their physical attributes, and he'll know. South Africa is unique in its own way, and he needs to think of the best strategy for a particular game. We might not have one
Mm.
identity, but we might have an identity that can beat a Senegal, that can beat a Ghana, that can beat a Namibia. And listen, if he wins, I don't think anyone cares how we play, as long as we
no,
get to a World
definitely
Cup.
no.
Mm.
I think we just need to qualify right now as South
Mm,
Africans. We just want to see ourselves qualifying.
mm.
Look at Bafana Bafana like a Baroka. A
Yeah,
Baroka beats big guns, but when
yeah,
they play teams at their level, they struggle.
The struggle,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Baroka will beat Sundowns like
Mm,
nobody's business. They will beat Paris
mm,
like nobody's business. They
The
will
big
beat
Chiefs,
Chiefs
yeah.
like nobody's business. But give them a golden arrows, give them any other team that a Stellenbosch, but they will struggle. So
yeah,
Bafana Bafana is at that level. If you can give us Senegal, Algeria, Nigeria, I think
mm,
we can compete. The
mm,
biggest challenge will be your Tanzania and your Benin. Remember,
yeah,
Tanzania, they've got quite a handful of players from Simba. Look at how Simba played in the CAF Champions
yeah,
League last
They
season.
did well, yeah.
Our national team does not have much players from the Kaizer Chiefs team that went to the final. But
mm,
you look at the way Simba played at home, you look at how they competed away from home, the energy in that team and the crowd in Tanzania. You can say maybe, just maybe, we can struggle in
yeah,
Tanzania, and
Yeah.
maybe we can struggle in Benin, but I don't think that will struggle against the big guns. When I look at that Bafana team, I see a Baroka that upsets big guns.
yeah.
That's just
Fair
me.
enough.
No,
Fair
that's fair.
enough.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. I think, yeah, you find those teams in who are, I don't want to say they poor, but they're good on their day. And Bafana, I guess, is that team. They are good on their day where they can actually beat another team. Where Stuart Baxter's Bafana Bafana beat Egypt in the AFCON type of thing. When we are playing on our day, we can actually beat the top guns. But as you say, against the ones who are similarly ranked, like the number 10, number 12, number 14 in Africa, we struggle against those teams.
Yeah,
And I think we need to get over that hurdle. But I think we did well by beating an Ethiopia away from home, because that is a
Mm.
team that in the past we would have drawn against Ethiopia or would
mm,
have lost against Ethiopia in the past,
yeah.
because we just struggle against, as you said, the teams that are on the same level as us historically, which is good. But what do you think in terms of tomorrow's set match? Do you think you'll probably go with the same starting lineup, or obviously Mabasa, I think, didn't start well, so I think maybe, do you think Lutswalo or Evidence will start up front?
I think it's going to start with Evidence. He has shown in the past that he has so much faith in Evidence. As much as I think that Letwalo is a striker on form at the moment, he's a top joint scorer in the league with 5 goals, and I think that Letwalo was going to be my option. But I know that that's the man that does not care what any supporter thinks. I think he's going to go with Evidence, and he has proved in the past that he trusts Evidence. And my biggest concern, though, it's a communication breakdown between Senda Kulu and Nico Mobi. If you observed, a lot of balls were played between the two. Senda Kulu was a right center back, Mobi was a right back, and there were a lot of balls that were played between the two of them. And it forced Roshan Teruk to always cover Sianda most of the time. And
True.
I know that Coach Hugo might have picked it up and is going to work on it. And also the amount of work that was put by Motobi Mvala and Teboho Mokoena. I don't think that they covered the space in between the center backs enough. And I know that he's going to work on that. But for me, those are my only concern. The gap between Sendakulu and Nico Mobi, and also I do believe that is going to start with evidence tomorrow.
Okay, no, nice, nice. So let's check some of the comments here. There's a guy by the name of Vads. He says, "Guys, think we're getting." He says, "Guys, think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Our national team is nowhere the standard of the top 10 teams in Africa." But as Veds, yes, we understand. Maybe we're not at that level, but I think as Pro said, is that we can hold our own against those teams on a one-off basis. You know, I mean, I think obviously over a qualifying. Or over a tournament, we've obviously shown in a tournament setup that we do struggle in certain teams, you know, against certain teams, and we win against certain teams. You know, the last time with AFCON, we struggled. We struggled to qualify for the next for the quarterfinals, but we made it to the quarterfinals, but not convincingly so. And then when we got to the quarterfinals, we played in Egypt and we beat in Egypt. So I think sometimes,
Exactly.
you know, we can surprise any team on their day. And I think once we do get there, you know, the confidence of the players, also the occasion as well. An occasion when you're playing against a Sadio Mane, you know, if you're marking Sadio Mane, you're gonna say this guy plays for Liverpool. This guy's not gonna go past me. He's not gonna go past me, and this is might be my ticket to a European contract, because someone was watching Sadio Mane play and saying, "Hey man, who was the guy who was marking Sadio Mane?" It was Nico Mobi, for instance, and then Nico Mobi next thing he's playing overseas. You know, I think that's also that incentive.
What happened when Shanti pocketed Mo
Salah,
Salah?
Salah,
You
exactly.
see,
Yeah, Susu
people would
Kati pocketed him. Yeah.
look, man. Football is a funny sport, but it's not a laughing matter. When you think about the Euro 2004, who won the tournament? Can you remember?
Greece.
Greece, yeah.
Greece. Yeah.
The
Greece, yeah.
worst national team at that tournament won the tournament.
Mm.
Greece. And
Yeah.
when you think about which team won the Champions League in 2004, ultra defensive FC Porto.
It's
Yes.
Porto, yeah, Porto,
Yes,
yeah. But yeah,
those two teams were not the best teams at the Euros and in the Champions League, but they went all the way to the final and they won it. The West Portuguese team won the Nations Cup, the Euro
Euros.
Nations Cup.
Yeah.
It's not about having the best players in the world. It's not
true.
about having the biggest names on the continent or in the world. It's all about having the best team on the day.
Yeah.
What Hugo
100%.
Broos is doing is getting the best team on the day, and he gets his job done. That's it.
I think it's very similar to like a Gavin Hunt with what he did at Supersport and Wits. He never necessarily had the
Precisely.
best team, but he would get his team to play in a certain way that would frustrate teams. And he's won 4 league titles or 5 league titles, and no one can ever take that away from him. No matter what team they played against, you know, they beat the likes of Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, and the history books don't ask what style of football he played or who was playing in the squad. It just says that team won the title and he was the head coach.
No, definitely. I think most important thing, I think, at the end of the day, if you support a team or support a national, whatever team you support, if your team is winning, I think you ask those questions about the style of play. Sometimes, you know, you're too happy that your team is winning to ask questions about the style of play. But when your team is losing, then you're asking questions about, but what's our style of play? What's our style of play? I think, you know, I'm a Man United supporter. My team is not winning. I'm asking about style of play. But if my team was number one right now, like Chelsea fans lost when they won the Champions League last season, no one asked about style of play. And now when they lost 1 or 2 games, they're asking, "Hey guys, hey, this thing of Tuchel, is it working?" You know, but last season when they're winning, they don't care. You know what I mean? From a Lampard to a Tuchel, they win, and then you don't care about how you win. It's all about winning.
Sundowns 2018-2019 season.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst Sundowns team that won the league.
Yeah,
In terms
they
of
still
they
did
were,
it.
they were playing one of the dull football you've ever seen in the PSL from a Sundowns team, but they went on
Yeah.
to win the league. They played Lebo Mabo as a false 9. They had Pagamani Mahlambi coming off the bench most of the time. They had no striker, but they went on to win the league. And if you
Yeah.
ask any Sundowns fan how they won that league, they won't tell you. They won't even talk about how bad the team was playing. But look at the Sundowns team that won the league last season.
Yeah. That
If you
was
talk about it,
true.
if you talk about the CBD, the 71 pointers, 2016, 2017, 2015, 2016 team, that will tell you that that team that won the league with 71 points was one of the best Sundowns team to ever
Ever.
win
Yeah.
ever win the Premiership. But when you talk about the 2018, 2019, no one remembers because no one remembers bad football.
That's true.
But they
That's
won
true.
the
You
league.
just remember that you won. That's all you remember. That's all you
Now,
remember. But
who's gonna remember that Bafana Bafana was bad when they qualify?
no one, no one, no one. That's true. Now I'll just remember that at some point in time in 2021 we were dreaming of Qatar, and then we went to Qatar, and that's all we care about. You know, what I mean, we in Qatar. That's what you care about.
The
But
last time we
yeah,
qualified for a World Cup actually was what,
so,
2002. You know,
2002, yeah,
2002 with Carlos,
yeah.
Carlos, yeah.
Japan, Korea,
yeah,
Japan,
and
Korea.
that was the
Yeah,
Mm.
last. That was the last time. So, you know, it's been a long time coming, and if you look at those two teams that qualified for the '98 World Cup and the 2002 World Cup, they were good squads, a good group of players, and you know. I think, like your Ghanas, your Nigerias, your Senegals, your Cote d'Ivoires, they've been qualifying regularly for years and years. So, you know, we need to start somewhere and we need to get to a World Cup. And that will set the standard for, the next generation of players to say, listen, this is South Africa. This is Bafana Bafana. We need to qualify for tournaments.
yeah.
We can't just make up the numbers because unfortunately, no one's going to take our team seriously, or sorry, our players seriously. No one's going to take our league seriously as well if our national team is not competing at the best and the highest level. We've got the best league in Africa. No one can deny that. Commercially, I'm not saying in terms of quality, but I think maybe we've got the most quality out of 16 teams, as opposed to maybe some of the other nations in Africa where they have one or two teams that are competitive. But now we just need our national team to elevate our football as a totality, and I think that will hopefully come in the next few months.
No, definitely. No, definitely. I see a question here from Claudio. He's asking which nation would you say is the best in Africa currently?
Algeria, without a doubt.
Mm.
No,
Look,
definitely.
look at their results.
Mm.
I think the past 20 or 30 games, they've been smashing teams 6-0, 5-0. I don't know whether it's because they have not met Bafana Bafana, but they've been beating teams left, right, and center.
No, I completely agree. I think they if I can compare, I know obviously it's not the same, but I think we can compare them to what Italy has been doing in the last 20 or so matches. Obviously, they lost this against Spain in the Nations League, but before that, obviously, I think it was about 25 games where they hadn't lost, and I think
I think it
Algeria has
was like
done
36 or 38.
exactly. So
Yeah,
obviously, I think
it was 30 something. Yeah.
Algeria has done something similar. Where if you
Mm.
look at their group right now, I'm just trying to pull up their group. I think they at the top of their group currently, and they okay, actually, oh yeah, so they've played 3 games. They've won 2 and drawn 1. They're on 7 points. Burkina Faso is number 1 with 10 points. So if they win their game that they're gonna play against Niger, then they'll be number 1 on goal difference. Which as you said, it shows that obviously they've been on a good run. And I think they've got the good players. They've got obviously Mahrez, and Mahrez has been hot. Obviously the current AFCON champions. So I would agree with you, Nick. Do you think any other team that you would like to mention as the best?
Like when I look at the best African teams, they generally, like, there's not much in it. When you get to, say, for example, a semifinals of an AFCON, all four of those teams are capable of winning it. There's no like real outright favorite. You would say because of Africa's the Champions League dominance generally is from your Egyptian sides, generally from your Egyptian sides, Moroccan sides, Algerian sides. So, I would say, I would look at an Egypt. I'd say an Algeria definitely, and there's always a West African team that is very strong, and they tend to take turns. Nigeria have their dip, and then Ivory Coast have their dip, and then Senegal have their dip, and so yeah, I mean, you're looking at the big powerhouses, and yeah, I would say Algeria are a quality team, but then you also like to think with the Salah at Egypt, with the new coach in Carlos Queiroz, they might do something quite significant at this next World Cup if they qualify. If they face us, they're not going to the World Cup.
No, definitely.
You
No,
think
definitely.
we've got Roger Desar there, Agent Roger. So maybe if we play them in the next round, he can
Oh
do
yes,
something for us
he's
there.
he's now the assistant coach for the Egyptian national
Yeah.
team, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
which
remember, there's a great contingent of South Africans at Ackley as well. So
Yeah.
I'm sure Coach Pito and his team they will send some notes on our direction. But Qatar,
100%.
don't worry, guys. In Qatar, we are there.
no, we have to be
Top
there.
stuff.
No,
Top
we have to
stuff.
be there. But I think because what obviously right now there's 10 groups currently, and obviously the 10 winners go to the next round. So from your point of view, who do you think are the 10 teams that are most likely to proceed? And obviously I know right now you maybe don't actually remember who's in which group and so on and so forth. But I think obviously most of the big teams are not in the same groups. The top 5 teams are not in the same groups, but you find obviously the top, I guess, 12 teams you'll find are in the same groups. Like I said, Burkina Faso and Algeria in the same group. So do you think an Egypt, Algeria, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Senegal, who else? Who
Bafana
else is
Bafana.
Bafana Bafana,
Mm.
Morocco, because Morocco is in the same group as Guinea, I think, with Naby Keita and them.
I think Mali also.
Mali as
Mali's a
well
team.
with the millions of Traores in their team.
Yeah.
They always do well. And then I think Cameroon as well have Choupo-Moting, have the guy from Lyon as well, and Abubuka. So who do you think are the teams that definitely will be there, and then the ones that you think that have a chance of being there? Let's maybe five nations that you think will be in the next round.
5 nations that I think will be in the next round. Well, definitely Bafana Bafana, Algeria, second one. I think I'm not sure about Nigeria lately because Nigeria they're just in another world. But maybe I would say Senegal as number 3, and number 4 I'll give it to Egypt. Number 5 I'll say Cote d'Ivoire.
Okay.
Do you
If
have
I can,
any insight, Pro, with regards to the next round? Is it just an open draw, or are the first 5 seeded? Do you have any idea how that works?
Unfortunately, coach, I have not given myself enough time to research about the next round because I was more concerned about us qualifying in this phase than as
we haven't
soon as the team
often got
qualifies
through
for the
to the
next
next
round.
round. So
No, that's
we
Yeah,
haven't had
so
much time to
I wanted to
research
worry.
it.
I wanted to worry about today.
Yeah,
no, that's fair.
100%.
No, that's definitely fair.
No,
But
because
just
it's so like it. If you guys agree with me, it's so cutthroat because we've got at least 10 good nations on the continent, maybe even 12, and it's
Yeah.
just like a little bit unfortunate. You might find an Algeria and an Egypt find each other in the next round, and it's like they probably are the same level, or maybe one's just slightly better, and like one of them doesn't make it. That sort of comes into the problem that Africa only has 5 slots in the World Cup. It's a very cutthroat situation to be in.
Yeah, I think it needs to change. Honestly speaking, guys, Europe, some of the countries that make it out of Europe's qualifiers sometimes, guys, I think they are not the same quality as some of the African countries that miss out. For instance, you find the number 6 team or number 7 team in Africa that could have made it, that lost to another team, and you're like, no man. But in the World Cup now, I'm seeing Iceland in the World Cup, guys. I'm seeing all these good Munsons, and and they
Even
really
England,
don't.
even England. Come on, Salwa. Even England will get Andorra. They will get San Marino. They will get
Exactly.
Gibraltar. That's like how? Come on, guys. That's 18 points.
That's
Then
true.
they're through to the
Easy
World
points.
Cup.
True.
Easy points for them. And and you look at England, they'll think they're world beaters. Look at a team like Belgium. Belgium, they are number one team in the world. But as soon as they get to the major tournament, they crash out.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair, fair. They struggle. They struggle. Did Pro freeze there? Nick, are you
Yeah,
still
I
there?
think he's. Yeah, I'm still there. I'm
Yeah,
still here.
he's frozen.
I,
You froze a bit there.
I don't know what happened.
No,
No,
no
he's
worries. Yeah,
back.
no, but you're right. You're right. You're saying that Belgium, all these European teams, for instance, right? I know how the European groups are structured. You get 5 nations in a group, two good nations, ne? One okayish, and then 2 really poor. Whereas in Africa, you get 2 good and 2 okay. There's no rubbish in Africa. There's two because Ethiopia had to play Lesotho to actually get into the group. Ethiopia beat Lesotho to get into the group. So there was actually already pre-qualifiers for other countries so that the rubbish teams can get out. And what you get is the okay and the good.
Yeah.
Imagine now there's a group where, if you look at a group where, imagine I'm looking at the groups now. One of the groups is Ivory Coast and Cameroon, guys. How does that make sense? And right now, Ivory Coast has got 10 points, and then Cameroon's got 9 points. Those are 2 good teams. You know what I mean? Those are two very good teams. And one of them is just going to miss out. It's unfortunate, but that's and you got South Africa and Ghana in the same group. And then you've got your Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's actually got a very good crop of players. I think they just had a bad manager. But
you've got South Africa and Ghana in the same group, and it's going to be sad not to have Ghana at World Cup.
Exactly.
Because Ghana are decent, but now look, they have to face Bafana Bafana, and now they are forced to crash out. But Zimbabwe, I don't think that they've got a bad manager. I think Norman Mapeza is a very, very good manager. I think the issue with Zimbabwe is the same issue that we had as South Africa after the 2010 World Cup, where everybody thought was a superstar and nobody wanted to work hard for the national team. I don't think that you can struggle when you have Kama Billat in your team. I don't think that you can struggle when you have Marshall Munetsi in a team. When you have Knowledge Musona in your team, I don't think that you can struggle. But I think those players, they decided to put their name first, and they decided to make the national team the last option. For me, Zimbabwe is one of the best sides we have in Africa. But the issue is players not putting the national team first, but they decide to put their names first. That is their problem. Norman Mapeza is a very, very good manager. Benjamin Moriwari as his assistant, he's got a good reputation. The Penny McCarthy of Zimbabwe. But the issue, names before the national team. That's my take.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for a team where they've, like, all their players. Either they playing, obviously. What's that guy who plays for Aston Villa? As Aston Villa, yeah, the centre mid. Nakamba, ne? Right? Then this guy also plays for Lyon as well. So imagine they've got the players that are playing in the big leagues, and then the others are also playing in South Africa, and they're playing for the best teams in South Africa as well. But another question here from Claudio. I think he's missing the show. Claudio is usually on the show, so I think he's missing it too much. That's why he's giving us so many questions. Who do you think is South Africa's most important player, bro?
In the current Bafana team, or in South Africa in general?
I think in the current team, in the current national team.
Mothobi Mvala.
Okay.
Mothobi Mvala is the most important player in the team.
Thanks for bringing up his name. I think he's a player who divides attention. They are fans who say, yo, this guy, he can't play. He doesn't have a touch. He's so poor on the ball. Then there's some other guys who say, you don't see his work. He's so like, you don't see what the dirty work that he does, and that allows other players to flourish. And that's why you think that he's not doing well, and so on and so forth. And maybe because he's not the most pleasing on the eye, you think that he's not a good player, but he does the dirty work. And I think he's a player that's divided a lot of attention, but he started every single game in the qualifiers together with Teboho Mokoena as the midfield pair. So I think Hugo Broos sees something that you see.
Hugo Broos, Rulani Mokoena and Mangoba Mngiti, Owen Takama, Peter Mosemane, the man who brought him at Sundown. All those players, all those coaches, they saw something. And let me tell you something else.
Yeah,
People who never watched Linda Buthelezi will never appreciate
fair,
Umotobi
fair,
Mvala.
fair, fair,
Shoes
fair, fair.
Mushwewu and
Similar,
Dr. Kumalo,
similar,
they were Bafana Bafana stars purely because of
similar
a Linda
players.
Buthelezi.
Yeah,
And
Mercedes
Eric
Benz.
Tinkler, who Mercedes Benz. Those players, they
Yeah,
sacrificed themselves. They did not
yeah.
want to be famous, they did not want to be stars, but they wanted to work for the national team.
They wanted
That's
to
what
win.
Motobi Mvala does.
Yeah.
They wanted to win all the time.
Mm.
That is why they won every tackle.
Mm.
That's why they
Mm.
won every aerial duel. That is why they competed on the pitch. They covered much more distance. If you look at Motobi Mvala's stats against Ethiopia away, you'll be shocked when you hear people, when you read people's comments on social media. For me, Motobi Mvala is the most important player in the team. He makes Eteba Homokwena shine. He makes Bongokuhle Hlongwane to shine. It's just that there are those minor issues that a coach can work on. But believe me, Motobi Mvala is your man.
No, definitely. I think yeah, it's an interesting player. Nick, I think if you can compare him obviously you're also an England fan, so I think you can compare him maybe to a Kevin Phillips. I was thinking of a
Yeah.
player. I was thinking of a player at Newcastle United, and I couldn't think of a
We
player at
don't have
Newcastle
them.
United because you don't
Yeah.
have any type of players like that at Newcastle who work hard.
Yeah, it's fine. We're gonna buy them all now with all our money, so it's fine.
No, but you used to have the late Czech Tiote.
Yeah,
He
he
was a
was
hard
very
worker for
similar.
Newcastle.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
100%. You know,
Mm.
we, I, I'll tell you, I don't know if you followed the Varsity Football Pro, but I actually had a player like that in my start. He played every game for me. Not the most technical player at all, but he was coachable first and foremost, and he covered the ground that I needed to in that midfield. For example, he would screen the back four, win his aerial battles, win his 50-50s, and 9 times out of 10, all the turnovers were going our way because of a player's sacrifice to do 2 or 3 specific jobs, not 5 or 6 glamorous jobs. And it's very important, very, very important.
No, definitely. I think you always need in a team, right? I think even in yesterday's game for France, for instance, you've got a player like Chouamini. He's a young player. Obviously, usually Pogba's playing with Kante, but a player like a Chouamini who's running around, who's making the interceptions, who's making the tackles, allows a player like Pogba to get on the ball and to do what he needs to do. In terms of contributing towards the forward movement of a team.
Yeah.
So Mvala makes sure does the dirty work, and then lets Teboho Mokoena makes the forward passes. Ethan Brooks makes the forward passes. And Thabiso Kutumela. And all these players that were playing, well. I think yesterday. I think on Saturday. I
Who
mean,
was player of the tournament? Who was player of the tournament?
at
You have
For
Nations League.
I'm
wait,
missed that.
Sergio Busquets.
Sergio
Busquets,
Busquets.
yeah.
Yeah, Sergio
Busquets
Busquets
was a
won
player.
player tournament. Yeah.
Not your Pedris, not all these
Mm.
superstars that people
Yeah.
always talk
Yeah.
about. But it
Yeah.
was a player that does the donkey work in midfield. No one
Yeah.
pays attention to him, but he's the heartbeat of the team.
No
So
fair.
for
No
me,
fair.
look at that position.
Yeah, no,
So I'm trying to
100%.
see. I'm trying to see. Claudio is coming back here with jabs here about Jali, but isn't Jali not the star type of player? So do you think a player like Jali? Let me actually probably bring out a whole list of players that probably I think are in the 30-31-year-old category. Do you think they still have a role to play for Bafana Bafana? So Azungu is 28, 9. Jali's 30, Jali's 31. Tyson. I know Tyson's not on form. But I'm just saying his name because obviously from a leadership perspective, he was a leader. But yeah, so you got those players. Okay, Kanti made the squad now. Do you think
Just shaking his head.
do you think Ashanti, a Jali, a Zungu?
You might as well add
Um,
in
you-
Kune in there as well.
No man, no man. He can't even be number one for his own club. You know what I mean? So you can't even bring in a Kuda. But do you think those players, they still have a role to play? You know, the 30, 31-year-olds, your Laos Falvegs who are playing obviously in South Korea and so on. You know, these players that were part of other squads. And some of them are playing well. Lars Falvegs playing well. Jali's playing well. Zungu hasn't found a club, but do you think they still have a role to play?
Lars is playing in the Clear Africa Championship of Japan. So he's scoring
No,
goals against.
no, but he didn't qualify. He got promoted. His club got promoted.
Yeah, but he was scoring goals in the Clear Africa Championship of.
But his club got promoted. So
Yeah, it did.
no,
It
but
did.
Yusuf Bart also got went from Glen Africa to PSL.
but it's different to play against rice farmers and to play against Castle. It's totally different. This is same like saying England is the best team in the world when they play against Andorra, San Marino, and all those Gibraltar and all those Malta, all these funny national teams.
These islands.
It's like,
yeah, these islands, these small islands, yeah.
It's like making a braai after beating Eswatini or Lesotho. We need to focus here. This if a player like Tembazwane, whom in my opinion is the best player in South Africa at the moment, if he can't make the national team, if a player like Rivaldo Coetzee can't make the national team, why must I start now crying for Andile Jali? For me, I think those players, they had their opportunity. It's past their time. It's time now to get other players. I'm still not happy that Hlanti is in the national team. I'm happy that Hugo Broos started with Mashego. I think Mashego is a very, very good talent. Mashego from Cape Town City. He's a very, very good talent. He played like a seasoned professional. He played like an international. You couldn't tell it was his debut game. I'm not happy that Lila K cannot make the national team because he gives a lot of options in his game. He gives you set pieces. He gives you good crosses, and he gives you a good work rate. But he's not in the national team. He's on the other side.
Years old. That's the problem.
He's on the other side of 30.
That's the unfortunate part.
But Hlanti is there. Hlanti is 31, but he's there.
31.
Yeah, but he's there. I'm happy that I'm happy that he's not he did not play. But for me personally, if a player like Tembazwane cannot make the national team, so why cry over Ibongani Zungu? There's still a Pepelos Tole in Portugal.
In Portugal, yeah.
That we have not seen at Bafana Bafana. There's still a Thabo Cele that is trying to settle in Poland. That is still coming to the Bafana Bafana team. So these players, they had their opportunity. They did not take us to the World Cup. Let's give the other players a chance to take us to Qatar because our passports are ready. Otherwise, I'm not going to complain, to be honest with you, when they're not selected.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Nick, where's your left back? Isn't your left back also trying to contribute? The guy who went to the Olympics.
He's not my left back. Katlego Mohammed. He's
Mohammed. He's at Swallows
he's
now.
At Swallows. Is he even playing there?
No, he's not playing. He's not playing.
Nah. I'll rest. I'll reserve my comments about him.
Nick, every time we talk about him, you always don't want to chat too much about him. You always say this much about him because.
But I can talk about him because I'm not conflicted. I don't think that he had a good Olympics tournament. I think that tactically he was exposed.
He says he doesn't think.
I don't think that he had a good Olympics tournament. I think tactically he was exposed on many occasions. He was isolated with his centre back partner. That's just me as a non-professional, as an amateur, as a football fan. But Coach Nick, you might have a different opinion.
I saw that week in, week out at training. So
thank you.
Took the words out my mouth. So I don't see it, but good luck to him. He's a professional. I'm not. So maybe some coaches see what I don't see, and what my technical team don't see either. So we're glad he's playing at a higher level now, but we're also glad he's playing at a higher level. Let me leave it
You
at
also
that.
glad that he left.
I'm not saying anything.
Ish. No, so just to wrap up, the final thoughts in terms of I think the game tomorrow, and just in terms of the rest of the qualifiers. I think obviously we've got the last round of qualifiers are coming up in November. So just what are your final thoughts? So Nick, let me start with you, and then Pro will have the last word.
Yeah, I think it's Pro. Thanks for coming on. It's always good to hear. As you say, you're involved in the sort of media space of football, but ultimately you do it because you're a fan. And it's always good to hear, the thoughts of like diehard South African Bafana Bafana fans. And I think it's been a long time coming. You can imagine me, Pro. I don't support a team that's won anything. Even my team from the UK is Newcastle. So I'm struggling. Yeah, I've got Bafana Bafana who doesn't qualify for World Cups or AFCONs, and I've got Newcastle who get relegated every second season. So I'm hopeful. It's a good sign. Newcastle just got taken over, and maybe Bafana Bafana is going to go to the World Cup. So maybe the next 2 years for me is going to be exciting. But it's been a pleasure to have you on. And yeah, I think if we can get 6 points in the next 2 games, I agree with Pro. We destined for at least that last round of qualifiers.
No, Pro, your side?
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for inviting me to your platform and your space. I really did enjoy myself. As long as the conversation is about the local game, I get excited because I'm in love with South African football. Whatever happened across the borders with Newcastle take over, at least they are not changing the club name. They are not going to call themselves something different, or
Marumo Gallants.
Marumo Gallants. But with us here, you see your Real AMs of this world buying Celtic and changing name, changing location, and all those kind of things. But at the end of the day, we know that football is a business, and there will always be politics around it. And
Yeah.
thank you very much once again, and I wish Bafana Bafana all the best of luck. I know that we are going to beat Ethiopia 2-0, and I think both the goals are going to come from Victor Letwalo, and Hugo Broos is going to take us definitely to the next round. And hopefully you guys are fully vaccinated. I'm looking forward to go back to the stadium.
Yeah.
And Coach Nick, when you come down to Durban to play a Glad fixture, holla at me so that I'll come and watch.
Nah, 100%. I think, yeah, they're opening up soon. So, yeah, I don't know when we're going to Durban. I think it might be next month. So, yeah, definitely keep in touch with you, man.
Thank you so much.
No,
Cool.
thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot, Nick. Thanks a lot, Pro, and thanks a lot for everyone who tuned in. Remember to like and subscribe to our show and our channel. And we'll see you in the next episode. And yeah, guys, it's been a great show. And yeah, all the best to Bafana Bafana. Let's get the 3 points tomorrow. Siaya Ekata. Siaya Ekata. That's gonna be the new song. Siaya Ekata. No, thanks a lot, guys.
It's gonna be a piano song.
Exactly. Don't make a piano version of it. Yeah. No, thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
All right. Cheers, guys.